I'm gonna pretend that there's something inside, because why not? Hi, I'm Marta and this is NotEnoughTECH. Previously I've been playing with Sonoff Basics, and I showed you how to hack a Sonoff device and how to basically write a code for it. If you don't fancy writing a code yourself, I don't blame you, to be honest, because it's a good learning experience, but not everyone's got time for it. If you need something ready, I could recommend you taking a look at Sonoff and Tasmota firmware. Now we're going to talk about the firmware itself a little bit more, but let's start with a short presentation. I'm going to call out my speakers, so if you have any speakers around, now it's the good time to mute them. Hope you're ready. Hey Google, turn the switch off.
Sure.
Alexa, turn the relay 1 on.
Okay.
As you can see, everything works fine, even though Tasmota by default does not come with smart speaker integration. So that's one of the shortcomings of this firmware itself. However, running Node-RED, that shouldn't be any problem, and you will be able to hook up the smart speakers as well. This video will show you how. Now, talking about the good points of Tasmota firmware is, first of all, you're going to release yourself for whatever the default app you've got. You're going to enable MQTT protocol and HTTP requests as well, so you'll be able to link it to pretty much anything you want. In addition to that, Tasmota firmware supports extra pins. So any pins exposed on Sonoff devices, not only on Sonoff Basics. Sonoff Basics has a GPIO 14 available on the board itself. You'll be able to control it via that protocol. It has a very nice web interface. It has a OTA upgrades, firmware upgrades as well. It has a built-in timers and a couple of more options that I'm going to talk about during the process of setting this up. So if you're interested in how to hack Sonoff devices, there's a video there for you. I've already covered this. So go and check it out, because it'll show you how to back up the firmware and how to restore it as well should anything go wrong. Now let's go to a tutorial part. If you Google Sonoff Tasmota, you'll get this page, this GitHub instructions on how to flash, which devices are supported, etc. It's a very useful information, and I'm going to be referring to this page a couple of times. But I'm going to run you down with some quick guide on how to flash the Sonoff device and how to make it useful in seconds. So first of all, go check your supported devices. Once you have your supported device on a list, go to the firmware download, which is this basically directory, and you can download sonoff.bin. You have all the preferences in terms of languages, but this is the default one that you should be using really. And download it to your computer and put it to a folder where your ESP tool is. Open the PowerShell in that location and run this command. The command is available in the description or in the article associated with this video, so check the description of this video if you don't want to type it out from the screen. I've changed the name of my bin file to tasmota.bin, so I would know which one is it really, and then flash it. After a couple of minutes, you'll be able to reset your device and start using it. Now, a bit of a note in here. Basically, if you've got a Sonoff device like this, don't try to put it into a config mode with programmer itself. Just connect it to mains once you finish programming. Programming with a programmer only, and then obviously connect it to mains, otherwise it won't work. Now, if you want to put that into the mode for config, there's a couple of ways you can do it and add your Wi-Fi details, and it really depends how many times depends on how many times you're gonna press this button. And I found that the easiest way is just press this button 4 times quickly, and we'll put it into AP mode. Then you'll be able to connect your mobile and enter your SSID and password, and that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And once it's this flashing, you'll be able to access it. I'm just gonna cancel that because mine's already connected, and we're gonna load the interface for the Sonoff device. So If you have a look, this is a configuration page you're going to see once you access the IP. You can find the IP based on maybe a ThingApp or ThingBox if you have one, or just look through the router. You'll be able to find the new device on the network. And most of the config is straightforward. There's a couple of things to take a note of. In configure order, if you own the Belkin Vimo or Hubridge, you can emulate one of the devices, or you can pass your Sonoff as one of the devices, and you should be able to see it on their network. Unfortunately, I don't own any of them, so I won't be able to test it. Now, another thing to kind of pay attention to is the configuration for MQTT. So once your device is configured, we can jump into the Node-RED setup, and I'll show you how to configure or how to control it with a Node-RED. So I have a couple of configs in here. There is a setup for MQTT, there is a setup for HTTP requests, there is a Google Home controller, and there is an Alexa controller as well. And I'm going to go with you through every single option. So I've noticed, I've mentioned previously, you should take a note of a topic and the mask for the full topic. And this is useful in controlling the Sonoff device using MQTT protocol. So if you notice, I've named my topic Sonoff, and I've entered my prefix after the topic. So right now when I'm configuring my topic in MQTT, I have my topic, which is a Sonoff, and then I have my prefix, which is basically a predefined part of your topic, depending on what requests you want to make. So start, this is how you get the status of the info of the device. And for example, for controlling, you have prefix, which is a command. So this is something to pay attention to if you configure your device. Now the controller is set up in here. So if you go to the MQTT, I have a toggle, I have on, and I have query. So if I'm gonna query it, right now the device is off, which you can see on the screen, and I can toggle it. Or I can turn it on if I want with the command on. And each time this happens, I get a payload back, which is from this node in here, and the device reports that on this topic, this is the topic, has issued the response back. The power has been turned on, so it gives you a JSON object saying which setting has changed. And this is useful if you want to trigger something else, for example. But that's basically how the MQTT works with the Sonoff and Tasmota. Now let's talk quickly about HTTP requests. Now to make HTTP requests and to find out more about MQTT commands, if you go to the command section of the instructions, you'll see all the instructions about available commands, and there's plenty of them. Both of them, the HTTP and the MQTT, basically require you to pass some sort of command value, and these are listed in the tables. For turning it on and off, you can either use 0 or 1. Number 2 is toggle, or you can pass the values like on and off. And the same applies to the HTTP requests, where instead of specifying a topic, you just specify the IP and then the setting you want to change, and then what kind of value you want to apply to it. So if you want to toggle it, you just apply toggle. If you want to put it on, you just write on, and that's how you pass the requests. So if you see, this is set to toggle, so I'm able to toggle the device one more time, and again the response is a JSON object with a setting that has been changed. Now lastly, we're talking about Google Home, and we're talking about Amazon Echo integrations. They're not included, so I had to be creative. So for Google Home, I come up with the IFTTT applet, and basically I say turn the switch rather than Sonoff, because the Google is unable to recognize the Sonoff as a name. You just constantly say it's a song off, and then $ when making a request, and whatever you're gonna say in a, instead of a $ will be used later on as a text field. So I'm linking this with a webhook. So if you look for webhook, it will allow you to make a HTTP post request and just authorize it with your username, password, and the IP of your Node-RED server. The directory I've used was Sonoff. I'm sending the content as JSON, and I have a JSON file in here, which is a Sonoff, it's my key, and then value is text field in double curly brackets, which is something I would say instead of the $sign. So when this happens, this node in HTTP node in for the HTTP request, it's gonna take this, so basically it's configured to be post and Sonoff, and convert it into a new URL to issue a next HTTP post to my Sonoff device. So I'm basically, the payload is available, the state I want to pass is available as a message.payload.sonoff, and I enter this at the end of the URL here, and I pass it a request. With Alexa, I choose a slightly different approach. Basically, I took a node Alexa home skill, which is linked to my skills as well, Node-RED skills. And if you go to the website here, which is Alexa Node-RED PM Hardale, me UK, then you'll be able to register your devices. Now, once this happens, just select the device from a list. I've got a relay 1. And you will, when you speak to Alexa, basically will issue a command true or false, depending whether you want that to be on or off. And then based on true or false, I just issued the HTTP request on or off. I could link it to MQTT request instead, but it's just another way of issuing the commands to the Sonoff device itself. And that's pretty much the whole setup for controlling the Sonoff device with Tasmota firmware. Excellent guys, thanks so much for watching. So if you want to buy a couple of Sonoff Basics, which are pretty much good for anything, check the links in the description of this video, you'll find them there. As usual, subscribe for more content, follow me on social media to get notified about extra stuff I'm doing, and I guess I'm gonna see you in the next video. Take care, bye. Hey Google, are you online?
Oh, hello. How can I help?
That's new. Actually, I should just put the second camera on. It's going to be easier, isn't it? Not enough cables? Nope, it's too many cables. That's what it's called.